fixtures. This one gets underway. Barcelona on the road again for the visit of the Cats. Remember, Alaves is the lineup for today. Stoichkov and Carlos Vicente are the fetching fluorescent green at the moment. Have a debate soon going on in goal for the Rafinha, Ferran Torres, Ace, the player who was rotated out today, and Frankie de Jong. Yamal continues to make history of his gay shirt. A tough battle for Hansi Flick. Quarter past the hour. I'm Duncan Bishop.
Right response because they went out and they
took Osasuna with some moment breakers, outright leaders from Osasuna, and the way form. A lot of pressure may be on Iñaki Peña. Needs to prove that he is.
He needs a rest. But to take away one of them, it's Fort today, not Koundé.
In an offside position, Lamine Yamal was given the rest after the smaller grounds in the.
It's a full house this afternoon in
the far side. Happy.
Ball from deep in midfield.
Blocked by Balde.
And that's out in the Barca defence knew, wow.
He'll head straight down the tunnel, looks like.
Until the last moment, Hansi Flick.
Well, it's a gigantic chip when he's slightly more got a
decision. We're not once to second guessing if Eric Garcia is the player who comes in.
It is striker rather than slightly
penalty spot. But the ball is headed into the net. Torres' injury, and Barca comes
exactly into the space where Leventham, much harder for the keeper to get that. It definitely comes off shoulder.
Run of the sides. He has 6 years old.
Duncan, working with you and what changing position has come, and the generation.
But an early indication, talking to Siwe.
Looks to the but the referee was.
Well, that's a question of Eric Garcia on in the
to his keeper. Get it long if you want, because properly. This is they have the right type of players to chase
the median of goals. In the middle, maybe Stoichkov
come out to boo the judge. They gave them the break instead of the
last forever. The referee has to Alcubarasi youth and shut Pedri out.
That's the huge change.
Plenty of sides were interested in him. In the middle of the park, in the same line, Eddie Garcia.
And you can see roughly the positions indicate
too much. But Mourinho, just my advice would be, look out.
One to remember there is Iñaki away for a set piece.
Just beyond the penalty spot, and given how
sent fairly low.
Quick notabene.
League. Very tough art. Out for this one. Attacking players. Performing.
He's not particularly comfortable in that role with a potential replacement.
Speaking of not giving goalkeepers much, of Lewandowski.
Killer in the penalty area. He's a classic. Pedri and Lamine.
Play.
Well, there was one, and he put a beautiful cross.
Peña is another example of going. They do have some options on the bench, kicking the likes of Osasuna and Eibar. Barcelona back in 2022. Rafinha with that delicate chip in it, looking as far as Inigo Martinez.
He's on his left foot. This is by far.
Is it short to Rafinha?
Individually, they work for one another in pressing.
Who controls? He'll have to get past Balde. Cuts it. He manages to recover well, and then setting him up. And as they all.
He's the space into which Rafinha wants it. And again, like Balde.
Well, it looks as if maybe VAR is going to be. But wonder if maybe that's activation work.
It's the choice. Now they made in reverse.
The goalkeeper Severa stands strong.
But let's. The Poles should score. That should even be the ones playing in behind, doing damage. But I love the referee's face. He's like, yeah.
Rafinha received the ball. He knew.
Good work, Carlos. Good info.
Now,
point that it isn't always the.
Here's Pau Cubarsí. Midweek and all those routes for Barcelona, perhaps wrongly.
Unbroken, and he's gone home to his.
Rafinha, a very passionate player.
Well, I was fortunate to named 2, 3, 4 of his team.
Rafinha, we see.
Attend ball players.
But Carlos, as we look at the Barca doc, you need to examine.
Ball players are out.
We'll keep an eye on Pau Cubarsí.
And you're either dazed. But with Cubarsí.
Here's Eric Garcia with the pass. Steady stream of Barca goals. Keep Peña to the test. Impressive start for him. It's going to be a moment.
A day off, which is
and that is going to be a concern for Luis.
Surprising, because he's an all-action football.
Lewandowski.
The 3 where I was a little bit more doubtful for Barcelona, and he was taken off.
Just watching Eric Garcia admiring it. Lewandowski's first La Liga hat-trick. He's on that decisive and see it. turning. Casado goes down.
So Lamine doesn't get a goal for it.
Yamal certainly can.
Breadcrumb encased
Back trying to storm away.
has been low. The flick is extremely
Stoichkov was slightly slow with the pass. He's asking for Alaves for the comparatively paltry.
both you, Duncan, and Carlos. A victory. How naive to be hammering home to his language, emphasising that.
To Tony Martinez. Tony home is his star there in the touchdown.
And Inigo Martinez decides not to play. Delightful trajectory. Might see a bit more of that player though, who is getting better. And Carlos Vicente. Be another cross in, taken by Carlos Vicente. Into the 6-yard box. It was headed towards goal.
Looking out of play, and in my eye,
as well. Quite able to get onto that to finish.
the only thing Casado didn't do.
Positioning for when he calls for the
Mouth, he said, "Listen, what do you want me to do?"
They get into it again.
But the silence still warming up. We assume that
Alde.
Carlos picked out, Flick was praising.
Casado, who out injured long-term games when they return from injury. It was Carlos Vicente. He'll take on Balde. That's the captain leading by yet another set piece. It was Tony Martinez. And Alaves reset ball. A player who took the knock to the head. Abde Rebac, who are both queuing up for it.
Right, the left foot ball. That's why Shez.
There will be a brief VAR check. Focuses on his day job.
I think it's Vicente offside. It's clear there's an offside.
What goal? They will have to remove the through here. A let off there.
When the through ball is played, for compensating for his over again over the last 10 minutes.
Garcia.
No, it's the decision making. What Flick has been counselling them about.
He did get a touch on it, but it was all half time that he did not bury them.
Twice now in 5 minutes, twice.
Alaves maybe will have one final positive first half for Barcelona. It's a comprehensive scoreline, but it's not all over. The scoreline makes for grim reading for Alaves. There was a disallowed goal there.
Yeah, the result might be to a clean sheet. Sean been brought into Marc-Andre ter Stegen and conceded 37. Well, that we get people, the league leaders, and we're
no surprise if that is Tenaglia
working and working.
Tears.
I think Duncan, Carlos was in huddle before this game starts, and I think Carlos was
in the book. Nahuel Tenaglia.
Martinez. And we see Diarra, the Alaves, accompanying a stop field in the first period. Always when there's a new side,
it carries the same
up after the international break. And then a trip to gets away from him. Montjuic, that will be curious.
Second striker, really tight in next.
Severa.
It was if you're, say, Kike Garcia.
Pushing and shoving going on in the box. Another let off for Iñaki Peña.
His nerves are shot.
There's Garcia trying to thread it through.
To take this game away from Alaves, that's a fact.
Signs of life since, including a disallowed. They'll get a few more corners. Been warming up along with several other
in LALIGA this season.
Playing, and he may get a half-hour run kick.
Is it?
Their way halfway into the box area. In the way.
Bringing Mourinho having standards of La Liga in terms of referee.
So when you go back this season, Mourinho probably won't start with Tenaglia on a booking. Well, it was snatched up by Stoichkov offside.
Starting position should have been much
For Deportivo Alaves.
It's the right move. Kike
Looks like 50 years old, but yes, he's only.
Kike Garcia, but he is Iñaki Peña.
Kunde.
We'll play through to.
Yes, but let's say two things.
So those changes, Carlos. Onto the bench with the Torres, who it just seems so. Lores was replaced by Eric Garcia. Peña now up the pitch. Ana Sanchez couldn't get the run inside. The moment it's Balde, just a light touch from this throw, and there is some space for a long.
The execution ran away from them, but really,
instead of catching, decides to.
The ball through is in a bizarre fashion, and except Torres, we know he's now Carvajal out.
Spain squad for this time to converse with him.
Konechny's.
It's on Levin.
It's a bit of a light foul.
And look from both coaches.
Saying on
It's about Victor and Ansu Fati are warming up, but
Lewandowski still carrying that wall.
probing it.
It's punted away as he to some of his assistants.
We will not too well. I mean,
A meal of it, but he's had a... We'll just keep an eye.
indeed, Graham, in fact, it will be.
Oh, tried for the flick. Fence seems to have been raised, but it was Konechny.
And the player that will come on is the young Barca up to now, but it's Hector Ford for Yuscom.
Spectacular. Fixture list. So Ansu Fati.
Abkar off is something that, because Sedlar was out.
A piece. Los Barbarossa disallowed for offside, but he's taking off.
10 or 11 offsides Barcelona have got right. They've been caught. But when
Explains the annoyance of some of these Barca players. Peña. In the run, one of those players on Ansu Fati as well. Now at the other end, long Stoichkov earlier on in the second half. One side.
And he doesn't want small.
Things down. So Rafinha is now on the. He's played to Kunde. The clearance from Alaves gets the ball away. Here's Pedri. Pedri tries to return to Ansu Fati's feet. Coming on. Here comes the upfield looking for the ball. It stands up a really positive move.
a number of chances has dried up a little bit. Recuperation hell.
From a Lewandowski shot, the truth be.
Keep concentrated. Catalan footballer coming on.
Nowhere to go.
And the Ansu of old would have buried him. He came on in midfield temporarily and look on the world.
Some have to adapt their play.
I think he was a kid who...
Substitution, we see Frankie de Jong.
Get those changes maybe in the next pause. Impossible try and break. He did come on earlier. Rolled out by the Alaves goalkeeper.
As part of the home.
Ansu Fati. Despite the comprehensive scoreline at Howell.
Duncan, what a Kiki Garcia. Got the ball.
Hugo Martinez and Alejandro Valde in LALIGA, and he's won.
As Barca will try and...
Pino over the ball. Lewandowski wait coming off in midweek, and
We'll have a little time to stew over. But stern in the press conferences. That Ferran Torres is not after the international break. That will just a reminder the players who are
just as you point out,
just think how important he was. But they will be new. It's Mourinho.
Offsides.
Rafinha was backing up onto. Referee has to take stages.
You and I have both seen reds.
This one will come in. It looks as if
So many players injured that in the tactical.
Martin tries to keep him in check. 24 points. It's hit from Vinicius in the. Got Atletico Madrid who are playing. Garcia, he's turned on the defender.
Eric, sorry, go ahead, Carlos.
It's been a long road back for Gavi. And over just slightly too long to be. Just makes things all the more interesting. That for Ansu Fati to take. So Carlos will be able to. The overlap, he's got Lewandowski with him.
Would include the fact that it's been. I should have conceded many more than the 4 that they both flick. And Barca's.
Lewandowski, here's Casado. Fully. Respectively. Then El Clasico. Stingier defences.
This wasn't our personality. Not the end of the world, but might be.
Barca get back to winning ways in. We just listened to Lewandowski. Lewandowski's goals. They've got a great home record, which is. And they will look to pick up the
game. It's played here. LALIGA EA Sports.